If you're developing or marketing an app, this podcast is going to bring you value. You're listening to Fluid, the digital marketing podcast, where we share current and practical marketing advice. Marketing doesn't stagnate. It's always changing. It's always flowing. It's always fluid. Each week we interview business owners and entrepreneurs to learn how they're utilizing online tools to grow their business. I'm your host, Paul Matthew. I help businesses build brand recognition and communicate at scale through consistent video marketing. Today I'm speaking with Noah and Larry. They are part of the team behind Ark Site, which is an app that is blowing up in the contractor industry. So Can you guys tell me a little bit about your app, what it does, how it works?
I'm going to let Noah take the app portion of this because he's the expert on the Ark Site app.
Sure. ArcSite is mobile computer-aided design. It was developed by Paysan, who's our owner and founder, actually. He used to work for Autodesk, which is the largest CAD company in the world. It's a $40 billion company. While he was working there, he kind of realized there was a need for easy-to-use computer-aided design that was just pen and paper easy, that a contractor or a salesperson could use out in the field to draw up quick and accurate construction drawings. So he ended up leaving Autodesk about 5 years ago, developed the program kind of as you see it today. And since then, we've had tremendous success with contractors from all different industries, from home improvement and repair to people working in online leak repair, to roofers, to people selling gutters. The list just goes on and on. But I mean, basically, what ArcSite lets you do is, without an education, without an engineering or architecture degree, you can also create two-dimensional CAD drawings. And again, you can do it just as easy as drawing on grid paper.
And how have you found people and grown the marketing for this?
Excuse me. Yeah, it's actually, I just joined pretty recently. Before this, I worked for a digital marketing agency where we specialized in other SaaS companies. But it's really cool to see what we've done in these last couple months. Luckily we have a built-in audience. On the App Store, we're looking at about 600 downloads a day.
Oh, wow.
So what the challenge is more weeding out those really good leads in there versus trying to just throw a net in the middle of the ocean and trying to get more leads.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I'm just recovering from the cold.
Are you getting their emails when they sign up or download it off the App Store?
Yeah, that's something we're always refining, but we do have a pretty good sign-up process in the app. So give us your email. You tell us a little bit about, is it personal use? Is it for a company? Kind of just like your standard field questions. And use that to tailor what kind of marketing we do to them after that, actually.
Okay.
So if you sign up for a company account versus a personal account, you're going to be getting different emails when you're. We have a 21-day trial period, so we have emails set up that come out, throughout different times during the trial period, and we're able to tailor the messaging a little bit that way, and hopefully put a little more effort into those business people who are going to buy multiple accounts instead of just Joe Schmo who's using the app to redo his basement or something.
Yeah. So what's your overall email campaign strategy look like? How do you use a drip campaign?
Certainly. Are you familiar with just workflows in general, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I come from HubSpot. We were a HubSpot agency, so they're kind of like the big brand name in marketing software, but they're expensive and they're not easily accessible unless you work for a big company. So
they're kind of deceptive because they kind of advertise themselves as this user-friendly, affordable solution. We have free CRM, but if you want any bells and whistles, it's like, hey, you're just a massive cost to you now.
Yeah, not only is it a monthly charge, but I think the onboarding fee we got quoted was over $3,000 or something like that. Just to be able to buy it, you have to go through that.
Wow.
But I came from that world, and every client I had used HubSpot. We sold HubSpot as a HubSpot agency. So I don't get me wrong, I love the software.
It's a great software. It's just pricey.
Expensive for a reason.
Yeah.
But we found a competitor that's pretty close, and I gotta recommend anyone who's, I'd say at our tier, if you're just starting, even like a podcast and you wanted to market it, you can get into ActiveCampaign. And not only that, you can scale it up to a company like ours. Like we have all these leads coming in, we have constant email drips, and we're able to do everything we can do in HubSpot. There's a couple of workarounds you have to do, but you get the same value I think that HubSpot would have given at a way lower cost, and you have something that kind of grows with you, which is cool.
What did you say it was called again?
It's called ActiveCampaign.
Okay.
Yeah, really, I mean, it's great, especially because I think you can get the light plan if you're like, let's say you're doing like a small like influencer thing and you're selling whatever, and you have like a Shopify store even. You can do, it's like $10 a month to get started. And then as you grow, you pay as you get more contacts.
Gotcha. That's really good to know. I'll have to look into that. I've heard of Constant Contact, HubSpot. I'm sure there's a few others. There's kind of a lot of different CRM technologies, but they can get pricey real quick.
Big time. And it's not like ActiveCampaign doesn't become expensive at some point, because it really depends on what you do and, you know, what you're trying to accomplish. If you're just starting, have you ever used MailChimp?
Yes, that's what I use for some basic email marketing that I do. I don't really do a lot at this point just because I don't really need to for my business model yet. I started a networking meetup so I use MailChimp to send reminders and other stuff about that event so people can keep up with it, and then some onboarding emails for new members that come in.
That's perfect, yeah.
Do you segment your campaign? So said you segment based on personal and business. Do you further segment by like tracking if maybe you send them useful articles that indicate more of their interest? Oh, maybe they're going to be more interested in the proposal feature or the drawing feature, and then like help files that you can then track their clicks and then send a new drip campaign branch to them. Do you do anything like that?
That's all possible, absolutely. We have all that in ActiveCampaign set up. So I can get into one example. So we have some, like, let's say you visit our pricing page twice. All of that's recorded in the contact record in ActiveCampaign. If you go to our pricing page twice within, I don't know the exact, I think I have it at like 7 or 14 days, you'll get an automated email from Noah that you might not even know exists. It says, hey, you were looking around the pricing page. Is there anything we can help you with?
Yeah.
But you could do the same thing for, like, if they're in your help center, for instance. And that's where the best marketing nowadays is done. It's helpful content. It's valuable content. It's something that's going to show your value as a company, that you're here to help them and not sell to them.
Yeah.
So another automation would be if they're on the help center, maybe you can tailor their next email to be, hey, here's our top 5 most downloaded articles. It's kind of cool because if you could think of it, you could probably do it. It's just about how you build it, right?
Yeah. It's like you have to start with a flow chart and think through their journey.
Yeah. Do you use any software for like mapping out funnels and stuff?
I've tried out a few different things, but usually I just kind of go basic, pen and paper, and start jotting down my ideas. And
yeah, I was talking to Noah yesterday a little on Slack, and I was like, we're going to get a big whiteboard. I miss it so much.
Yeah, that's kind of the easiest way to do it when you're just trying to brainstorm. Whiteboard, group of people, and you're like, all right, they do this, what's next? Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
And then you just start developing that.
And then you're like, no, that doesn't work. Swipe it and then rewrite it. I've been using software lately because we don't have that whiteboard yet, but man, I miss just like drawing it out, you know?
Yeah. Well, I feel like a whiteboard's probably cheaper than a lot of software out there.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. So when you're going through your sales process, do you write down or track the steps you take so you can later optimize them?
Yeah, we do have a series of stages, is what we call them. I think there's 9 or 10 different stages, from the initial prospecting section to when we schedule the initial appointment, if they miss that, to follow-up meetings, to negotiation, to close, to need review. We have a whole series of stages, and then actually multiple pipelines depending on even where that sale originates. So was it an outbound call? Did we cold call this person up? Were they inbound? In other words, did they download the app first, and then did we reach out? So we have all that set up. Now, currently, all those different pipelines feed into one master pipeline, I think, might be a good way to reference it as.
Yeah.
So in other words, once I schedule a demo with them, they're in that master pipeline.
Gotcha.
And then that allows me as the account executive to really track where the sale is at the moment. So that might have been a complicated answer, but
No, that makes sense.
it's a nuanced
It makes
system.
sense to me because we talk about it every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you basically have different ways they can come in, and you've got to carefully nuanced funnel them into eventually your main one where,
Yeah.
Sure.
yeah.
And at this point in the company's growth, we're all about mastering the process, mastering the process of people coming in, the experience they have with us, and then what we say to them. We want to create a great process here that we can replicate and teach other new employees as we bring them on.
Do you, have you ever heard of Process Tree, I think it's called?
No.
So there's a software that you can get, and it's basically you start mapping out that whole process. At this point, we call them, we do this, and that way you have this checklist essentially. And then if you bring somebody in, they can follow all those steps. And then once you kind of learn where things are, steps that are getting overlooked or other things, or like, oh, maybe we don't need to do this, then you can start to adjust it. So you really streamline that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to look into that. That sounds
Sure.
cool. Something I want to jump off of what Noah said is, it's so important to document all of these processes and everything. But it's even more important to never say you're done either. So even if we iron out like the perfect, cold call script or whatever it might be, it's all about like measuring that and then trying something new next week to make sure it can't be better too.
Yeah.
That's something, I don't know. I think a lot of people, you just like achieve a task in your marketing or sales schedule, and then you're like, okay, well, that one's done, but you don't revisit that in a month when maybe you can make that one like twice as good.
And I find like usually you think, okay, this is pretty well ironed out, and then there's a new curveball. You're like, well, it didn't fit for that. Like I had to change things for that, and then there's always like something that comes at it a little bit differently that doesn't fall into your cookie cutter. And so
Big time. Yep.
do you do inbound marketing with content production?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not
What
as
is-
much as we should.
Do you create the content yourself, or do you outsource it?
Wow.
Gets outsourced to me.
It really does. Our content well, we just finished a website right now.
Yeah.
Before we really ramped up our content schedule, I didn't want to be driving organic people to a site that wasn't ready to convert them. So we've spent the last couple months perfecting our website more than anything before we ramp up this content schedule. What's the point of getting, great content and more people to your website if they're just going to either leave right away or watch it and leave?
Right.
You want a nice inviting place for them to stick around. And so, yeah, I wrap Noah in every once in a while. Big fan of video. I think it's the fastest way to create content, A, and B, a lot of it. So I think we were just talking right before this, like the way that you would take this whole podcast
Yeah.
and turn it into like, 8 clips, 10 clips? That could be 10 blogs too. You could take that from SEO standpoint. That's the best way to like grow our website organic traffic.
Yeah.
So you take each one of those videos, you write a little summary, and then you've got 10 blogs from one podcast. That's tremendous.
I should start doing that. Writing is not something I like to do as much.
Nobody does. Nobody likes writing.
And it just takes a lot of time once you start taking the podcast. Okay, now I filmed it, I edited, now I got to write about it, now I got to SEO it, and it takes time. If I could maybe outsource that, and I'm not at a position where I can afford to outsource that.
That's a lot.
But yeah, once you get that like methodology where you're like, okay, we did this podcast, we got now 8 clips to put on LinkedIn and 8 articles to throw on a website, get the SEO, and all of that came just from one piece of content.
Yeah, that's the golden goose.
Do you have like what kind of content do you create? Is it content that explains your product, or is it content that's kind of really diving at the pain points of customers?
I can probably jump in a little bit here. So you could probably say there's, broadly speaking, maybe 2 different categories of content that we create. So one would be use cases. or user stories. So we'll take a company's experience with ArcSite, maybe what they were doing before we came around versus what they're doing now, some of the improvements they've made, how they're using the app, and we'll just kind of document that. That creates a really nice piece of content that we can share with companies that have similar use cases. I would say another one, broadly speaking, would be educational material. Educational both about the app and how to use it, but then also just for contractors in general. You know, a lot of these folks, unfortunately, aren't very technically sophisticated, and so there's a real opportunity for us to kind of show them ways to adopt new technology and processes, even with their marketing, to help improve their company. So I think that's one of the great values of working with us, is that not only will we introduce you to a state-of-the-art mobile CAD system that anybody can use, but we can also really help grow your business in other ways too.
Right. To rephrase that a bit, another way of looking at it is top of funnel content, medium funnel, and bottom of funnel. Or middle of funnel, not medium of funnel.
Medium funnels.
So, well, I mean, we could start something. Why not? So, you know, you have the top of funnel content that's going to be like a tertiary search, for instance. So, again, our audience is different than a lot. It's like a Joe Schmo contractor guy who might not be very tech savvy, but he's looking for help growing my construction business or something. So you produce some content that might not even mention ArcSite, but it's related to what he's searching for. And that's what you call top of funnel. So that gets them into, you know, they found this valuable piece about that pain point they had, and they're like, oh, who's that from? Oh, it's from ArcSite. So maybe next time they're going to go to some medium of funnel where it's how ArcSite solved that problem. And then next time it's bottom of funnel where it's like, hey, have you seen everything ArcSite can do? Because watch this video. Noah goes through every single step of how you make everyone's life easier. So it's kind of a balance of where you need to prioritize which content. And right now, I think most of the stuff have been those medium and bottom of funnel pieces like Noah was talking about. But when we're ramping up like organic search or trying to really get the website going a little stronger, we're going to be doing more of that top of funnel content.
Gotcha. Okay. And do you offer any sort of like bait for the email? Bait sounds like a bad word, but
we're gonna trap them all.
But like, do you offer any additional value? So maybe you, or are you planning to, where you write an article that's that top of funnel where you're addressing a pain point? So maybe they're bad at organizing their business and they need to further streamline their process, and they're not really sure what that looks like. They read an article about that, and then you're like, you can download our template that lays out this is the process for your niche, your industry, and then they download that, and then you send them a drip campaign that nurtures that lead into maybe you like ArcSite.
That's exactly what we do.
We just created a book you can download. I think it's 5 or 6 pages long. Ebook. Top 5 ways you can future-proof your business for 2020.
Okay.
We're starting to work on stuff like that. Larry's also putting together some webinars that people can join in to address pain points that people have.
Awesome.
Yeah, really excited about the webinar front. I know that was before I left my agency, everyone was hiring us actually just to do webinars because it was like the trend at the time, and I think it still is. It's again for the same reasons we talked about doing video and like being able to have a webinar is being able to, like, let's say this was a webinar right now, and again the same reasons we could cut that up into a bunch of content, but the overall point of the webinar is probably helping so many people because it's on that one pain point or whatever it might be.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm working on putting together a workshop for people to learn a set of skills, and kind of the way I want to start marketing that is starting with a webinar that helps with the overall problem that they can watch, get value out of. And then if they trust that instruction, they like that, they could sign up for an in-seat class to really go deep dive with that.
Sure, yeah. I've seen that model a lot for sure. I think my owner at my last agency was just building something like that himself.
Yeah, and so I'm excited for that. It's the early stages that I'm developing it, but I'll have more information on that later.
Yeah, please send it our way. I'll check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's see. So did we talk about chatbots? I don't think we did. Do you have a chat box on your website?
Yep. I actually took down the old one. I don't even know if you know that yet. With the new website, we were using, it's interesting, right? So we have chat on our app, as well as the website. Have you heard of Intercom?
I am not that one.
So that's what we were using because they had a good chatbot that works in ArcSite as well as on the website. We're stepping away from that platform, so I'm experimenting some other ones. Actually, right in ActiveCampaign, they have a chatbot for your website. So,
that's convenient.
the benefits of that are we can use that as lead gen there, as well as it ties any existing contacts that we have in our ActiveCampaign CRM with their questions they had too. So let me use case that if someone downloads the app yesterday. All that information is sent to ActiveCampaign through, we have APIs that I'm not smart enough to set up, but we have a great development team that did that for us.
Yeah.
So we have all their information, and then we can then track every time that person's on our website, as well as if they chat and have a question. So it's the third day into their trial, they go to the website and they say, hey, I'm having trouble drawing shapes. We can, help them out right there and provide a little more value and hopefully convert that into a sale down the road.
That's awesome. So how do you get someone live on there? Is there like what's automated and what's live from the chat?
Oh, so like chatbot versus live chat, you mean?
Yeah. Is there a point where if they ask that question, are you just sending them a help article or are you connecting them with someone?
Yeah, everything we're doing now is live chat.
Okay.
There are recommended articles that do pop up if someone asks a question with a certain keyword in there.
In Intercom? Okay, that was before I've not set anything up chatbot wise, but yeah, sounds like we do then.
It's very basic. It doesn't always function because most of the time when people write in with a question, they simply ask it, I have a question, But if they ask something specific to the app, so let's say, how do I duplicate a line or how do I show measurements, then, we'll have an article that does populate there. It doesn't always answer their question, so you can't always rely on a chatbot. So it is always important to have that human element on the other side of the screen to really drill down and see what's going on.
What's your response time on it generally?
Currently it really depends on who we have available. So right now it's me and our head of customer success that are on that chat. That's a task I'm probably going to have to offload to someone else here soon. If I'm sitting in front of the computer and I'm not in front of a demo, I'll be on top of it right away. If I'm not available, sometimes it's going to take a couple hours or even to the next business day.
Yeah.
Which the goal, of course, is to answer everybody immediately.
Yeah.
That will be doable shortly, I suspect. At this point, we simply can't quite have that response time.
How much traffic do you get with that? Do you ever feel overwhelmed with it, or is it just here and there?
I don't feel overwhelmed with the chat traffic specifically. I probably get 15 to 20 messages perhaps a day at the most. Now, as far as
then of those, some are only relevant that you actually have to answer to, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we get some people that say, we'll ask, do you have a question? And they'll say no. Okay,
What
well, I can close
yeah.
that right away. I don't have to write anything more.
Or it's like, love the app. Why do you charge so much? It's like, well, okay, well, you're not our target buyer right now.
But chat is important. It really does open up some large opportunities if you pay attention to it. You'll have people come in that maybe are, say, the foot soldiers of an ExxonMobil size company or something along those lines, and they're just exploring the application. So it is important to take each message very seriously, at least initially, when you can kind of dive into why they're there.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I'll always ask if someone asks a question, I'll answer that, then ask them, hey, are you using this for personal use or for an organization? If they say they're using it for a business or a larger company, then I want to learn a bit more about, why did they come to ArcSite? What problems are they looking to solve? How do we fit into or improve their workflow?
Have you seen a pretty good conversion rate from that?
If someone engages with us, I would say they're about 15 times more likely to buy.
Yeah, I don't know if I were like starting my website out right now. It's a great thing to have, but I don't know if I'd put all my eggs in the chatbot basket. I think there's so much other important things you could have on your website to, what's the goal? Is it just lead gen or is it just, converting someone who's already a customer? I guess it depends on your business. I've heard amazing stories about chatbots and live chat, but I think it's more just a tool to extend a conversation more. And so it's like a great thing to have, but I wouldn't hire a whole team to develop a chatbot for each page of your website.
Right. What would you prioritize?
Ooh. There's a metaphor I like, and it's like your digital marketing's like a tree, right? And basically your website is that backbone of it. And then, you have like your social accounts branching off of it. You have affiliate marketing, paid ads, whatever it might be. It builds out the tree. But when in doubt for prioritization, let's throw more water and grow the tree itself. So more content for the website is always a thing to focus on. Playing with your messaging. When you build your website, if you haven't changed it in like a month even, then you're probably doing something wrong, because your audience is changing, the world is changing, and your product and your messaging should be changing.
I feel personally attacked. I need to update.
Oh no.
That's good though.
Yeah,
bad.
it's something I'm working on a redesign of some stuff in there. I definitely need to be more active. My portfolio on there is a bit dated at this point, and so I need to make it more relevant and current.
Or just try new things even.
Yeah.
You could keep the same stuff, but try like a big pop-up CTA. Maybe your audience loves it and maybe they don't hate it or something.
Right.
I don't know. That's the main thing is what I'm trying to say. It's like you don't have to like redo your website every month, but just like move sections around even, and you'll find like, oh wow, I actually got more conversions this month from one little change.
And actually, I think that might be worth touching on. Larry made a change to the app on the registration page that almost doubled the number of signups we had.
Wow.
And it was a small change. I think
It was
he changed the wording on a couple key phrases there.
I
But
think we changed it from like start free trial to get started.
Yep.
Wow.
Because people are just in our audience not happy about a free trial. They have that stigma of, oh, it's one of those things I'm going to sign up and then I'm going to get charged at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Which that's not how we do it. We know that nobody likes that.
Yeah.
So we switched the messaging to just get started, and that was it.
Which I think there's probably 2 points that you can take away from that. One is that, you need to make changes and experiment with things. But the other part of it is that it's probably important to bring people with a fresh set of eyes into the discussion on a regular basis, because they're going to see things that you're not necessarily going to notice because you've lived with the problem for so long that maybe you're just completely blind to it.
I think that's such great advice.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. That was profound.
Just like peer review with your friends,
Yeah.
like even that would work. Like if you're not like a company with outside eyes, you could just be. I actually did that once we officially launched our website. I went to a coworker who I used to work with and I said, hey, do you mind taking a stab through the website and see if I dropped the ball on anything? And he had a couple recommendations, and then we were able to go from there. So yeah.
I was talking to a web developer. One of the things that he does is he'll have like people come in and go on the website, and he tracks where they're clicking, how long they're spending on it, and he'll have an active phone call with them. So they'll go on the website and just kind of talk through what they're thinking and seeing. It's like, oh, okay, I'm looking at this. Now I'm trying to find where the button is for that. And then by noting everything that they're talking about, you can kind of figure out, okay, this is working, this isn't working. So
We should do that with a couple. We should just pick like 10 people whose first day in the app it is, and just hear what they have to say as they go through it.
Yeah, we got plenty of them coming in, so
Yeah, let's try that.
you could offer them like, hey, we'll give you a $5 gift card to Starbucks or something.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and then you get some really valuable feedback on how people are navigating that app and experiencing it for the first time.
Yeah, we just actually started. We have a new software that kind of tracks that for us. We haven't officially. Know what? This morning we did.
Pendo?
Yeah, it's called Pendo. Basically, it lets us track, who pushed what, when, and where. And if they made it to this part of the app, if they used this feature. If they didn't, we can message them in the app. So we can have like guided icons in the app of like, oh, well, this guy yesterday drew, but he didn't use the wall tool. So anyone who uses the tool but doesn't use the wall tool will get a message to use the wall tool next time they open up. Obviously not that exactly, but
Yeah.
having that ability is going to be so huge. We can't wait for that. At least I can't. I've been like, ooh.
It's like I just know everything now.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, as a marketer, you have to kind of be stalking people and looking at everything they do.
Oh man, if people knew how much data is accessible about their everyday life, I don't know
Yeah.
if they'd be thrilled about it.
I think people consciously want to ignore that. Like you go on Facebook and you know how much data they're collecting on you.
So
You're like, I
much.
just don't want to think about it. I'm just gonna keep scrolling.
Yeah.
And it can be just super insightful. Now, one thing I noticed, because I saw the original website, and the color scheme, if I recall, was very blue. And then you switched over to an orange color scheme. What were the thoughts behind that?
Well, it was actually more of a, I don't want to use the word fluke, but it was more of an experiment that the web designer we hired tried. He wanted to do kind of an abstract concept, change a couple things over. Larry looked at it. I looked at it. It just really caught our eye, more so than blue. So we decided to push it in.
It was a bold decision.
Yeah. We actually just pushed that out today as far as what you see on the App Store. So instead of having the old blue logo, now you see the orange one.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to see kind of where that takes us.
It's a lot of work across the board. I've
Yeah.
spent maybe the last 2 weeks redoing almost every content piece we have. Like a new like logo for that book that he just talked about, that ebook. I had to redesign all of that. I didn't get into the book itself, but like the cover page or whatever for the download, I changed. All of the in-app videos and stuff like that are on the App Store. I just had to redo those. It's a lot of work to do something like that, but I think it goes back to what I said of like trying something, you know, seeing what sticks against the wall, and not being afraid of, you know, let's say this tanks, God forbid, you know, knock on all the wood. But, you know, at least we know.
Right. So did you do any like experimenting beforehand, or did you just like, I like this, let's jump full force into it?
We do actually do quite a bit of experimentation with new features. Now, with this particular one, I can't really say that that's something that we did try out. It was more of just not really a hunch, but just what really caught our eye the most.
Yeah.
Does a blue app catch your eye the most on a screen, or does an orange one?
No, I would agree that the orange is going to like draw your attention more. It's more urgent, whereas blue is more subtle and trustworthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, we do quite a bit of, we're going to start to do anyway, a lot of A/B testing, where we try maybe a quick and dirty version of a new feature or onboarding process before we decide to really push forward with all of our resources and to make that available for everybody. So, yeah, you know, experimentation certainly has its place. The key is, do you want your experimentation to be data-driven, or do you really want to take the reins and push in a certain direction? And there is a lot of internal discussion over what the best approach is.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can handle a different issue.
Yeah.
What are some things that you would recommend people test if they're just getting it? They have their website and stuff, and they want to maybe convert more leads on their website. What would be some of the first things you would recommend they change or test?
I guess it depends on the business, of course, and their goal. But the first things I would do is just make sure you have conversion points on your website. Very clear CTAs, inviting opportunities to get someone's information. No one's just going to be like, oh, cool website, let me give you all my information.
Yeah.
Having offers on your website, trying new offers. For instance, that guide that we were just talking about, I think since we redid the website, was converting, not a lot, like maybe like twice a week. But now in the 2 weeks of the new website launch, I think we have like 20 downloads on it.
Oh, wow.
So, and I don't know what I've changed other than the coloring on it. And you know what I did change? So here's something you could test. It used to be a pop-up. If you scrolled like 50% way down on the homepage, it would pop up and be like, hey, would you be interested in this guide? And now it's just a section towards the bottom of the website, and I'm finding that that's doing a lot better.
It's less invasive.
Maybe.
And I feel like as someone that goes on websites and reads articles, if something pops up, I don't even read it. I just close. I'm like, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to read whatever what they wrote about.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what the psychology of people are doing. They're just closing it. But when it's placed down there and they kind of organically get to that point, they're going to be more interested and actually read what it is.
Yeah, and then the thought process on that is we have basically, I guess technically 4 calls to action on the website. You can buy now, which would be great, but no one, not everyone's going to do that. You can book a demo with Noah, and he'll show you the app. You can watch a demo, which is just a video version. Or if you're not ready to do, 5, I guess, because you can also start your free trial of the app.
Yeah.
So if none of those get your attention and none of those grab you, then we have this ebook at the bottom, and I think that's what's working. It's more of a middle of funnel offer, right? They're not ready to commit to a demo or book a meeting, but I'll read this book they have to say, and then they're in our nurturing now. So tinker with different ways to grab people's information, I guess.
How do you feel about having 5 calls to action? Do you feel that might be a little confusing for someone? Generally?
Absolutely, it is. Yes.
Yeah. How are you handling that?
So the way that to make that not confusing, there's actually only 2 that you see. Everything's huddled under a get started, so that you can either start your free trial or get started. But when you click get started, we display 3 cards that say either book a demo, watch a demo, or download your trial. So that's probably it's working. So far it's working. But traditionally, you're right on with that question of, one CTA is better because
people don't like options. People get overwhelmed by options.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
You want to as counterintuitive as it is, you really want to take away people's options and that's why you funnel them.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of a good, since you have so many options that you want to provide with them, that's probably the best way to do it, is kind of hide it behind 2 and then open up to branching out, choose your own adventure.
Exactly. and then on that note too, it's like, we're finding we have 0 conversions on book a demo with Noah. However, the watch a video with demo is at least 1 or 2 a day.
Yeah.
So we'll practice what I was just preaching, and we'll probably change that in a week and try something new. So
yeah, well, maybe instead of book a demo, what if you just took that off, watch a demo, and then after they watch it, that's when you follow up. You want to book one?
Done. Great idea. Yeah. Write that down.
Yeah, I think that might help with that. Now, do you do any social media marketing? I know you post on LinkedIn. I've seen that, and I think I've seen it also on Facebook.
Yeah, not as much as we should.
Do you think it's worth your time to do social media?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's a friendly way to reach people. I think your messaging switches up on there. You need to find, more valuable, friendly content, and it's more of that probably top of funnel stuff we were talking about. Obviously, mix of all of it, but I don't know. It's just so hard, again, when you're talking about that tree metaphor, to get an Instagram post off when I could be, refining the form that we're using on the homepage or something like that. But yeah, it's valuable.
You want to prioritize on your highest conversions or your most profitable efforts.
I think as our company grows, there's probably going to be room for people to step in and handle some of those tasks. I know Larry and I both feel stretched in multiple directions. That's part of working at a startup.
You're looking at the sales team and the marketing.
Yes.
So it's like, obviously, I'd love to be doing everything, but you can only do so much in a day.
Yeah, you're looking at the entire marketing, sales, and execution of the team. So that's why, things slip through the walls. Just simply, there's just no time to do everything.
Yeah, and it's not like you're neglecting one thing. It's just, no, I was doing this other thing.
Yeah, it's not, I was just sitting idling. No, that's a great point. And then I know there's a company I've seen that they do the content marketing for you, so you can kind of pick some writers and stuff and partner with them, and I think it's a subscription fee, so maybe that's something to look into.
I've had, because like I mentioned, I used to work for an agency. We would do all of the what pillar pages are, content pillars.
Yep.
We would do that for people, and then for an extra fee, we would write it or outsource it or whatever. Very hit and miss with some of these, hire out your content pieces. Especially for us, where we're such a tailored industry, it would take a whole like week of onboarding this writer to know what to write about.
Yeah, we have a unique product. I mean, mobile CAD, there's only a couple other programs that do it. None of them work nearly as well. And then on top of that, we have, I mean, really our bread and butter is what we call visual estimation, where ArcSite prices out what a job's going to cost through you just drawing a picture. That's not something that anyone else has or even has the capability to produce. So trying to hire a content writer to try to pitch that would be, I would imagine, a little difficult. It might work for some of the more top of funnel pieces that we were referencing earlier.
For that it would work. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it would make more sense for top of funnel where it's just general pain points.
Yes. Then in that case, yeah, absolutely.
And that could go on social media and stuff to start to like get more leads.
Yeah. And then, the problem I've seen is every agency now, including the one I used to work at, agrees that no one wants to do the writing. Everyone is fine doing the keyword researching and getting that done for people. So anytime I'm being advertised like agencies, especially around Grand Rapids or anything, they have these great ideas about what you can do to start boosting your SEO or what content pieces to start writing. But they're just doing the outline for you, or they're just giving you the keywords to stuff in your blog and backlinks to acquire, whatever. But they're not doing the work for you. And I feel like everyone with enough time can do that part. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
The hard part's, putting the boots on the ground, the pen to the paper.
Sit in the boiler room.
Yeah.
And writing's not easy. There's a lot of really bad writers out there. And it's hard to even track your success with a document like that. I mean, some of the pieces I've written, I can quantifiably tell you, that worked out well for us. We got X number of customers from this one blog post. But generally speaking, I mean, it's hard to quantify or measure your success with a given piece, but it's still important. You have to, and the only way you can keep tracking it is if you keep on producing those content pieces.
And the benefit though is it's a living piece, so it's not like a social media post where it's there and it's gone. It's you may not see a return on investment for that for like years, and then Joe from contractor ABC 3 years later reads one of your first articles and says, "Oh, I want to buy ArcSite."
I think that still happens for some of our older blogs that even like you wrote or whatever. You will randomly get traffic on them and be like, "Wow, that is exactly what I was looking for." So it's like a seed that is always growing in your backyard. Yeah.
Like I wrote a piece for like an app for gutter companies, and I've had a couple leads come in that were just ready to buy because they watched my video or maybe saw the blog post and they went ahead and purchased because there's not another app for gutter contractors. Not that even ArcSite's designed specifically for them, but it just works really well in that industry.
And since you had the expertise to write something convincing on that, what about like maybe just bringing in experts? So, for example, I do this podcast where I speak with other professionals. Maybe you could do something similar for contractors and invite contractors to talk about their business, and then you're not directly plugging, "Hey, we could solve A, B, and C with our app," but just having a conversation with them. Maybe that could be a easier source of content to produce.
Yeah, it's another great idea. It's I don't know when or how, and there's a lot of work behind that.
Logistics.
But it's another great idea that I've seen work for a lot of people.
Yeah. So we're just about out of time here, so I want to wrap up, and I want to ask: would you say selling a digital product is harder or easier than selling a physical product?
I probably am the best person to answer that
Please.
one. I'd say. So I've sold both. I used to sell cars. I've sold alarm systems. Now I'm, I don't want to say selling software, but I mean it's essentially my job as an account executive. I would say regardless of what you're selling, the most important thing is to find ways to differentiate yourself and the product from the competition. The advantage of selling ArcSite is that there really is no competition with what we're selling because it's such a unique product. If you like what you see and you can see it works well, you can't take your business anywhere else. It's not like selling insurance, for example, where there's thousands and thousands of competitors.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I would say that selling ArcSite as a virtual product is easier. Now, if I was selling something like, let's say, a CRM, contact resource management software, or an accounting software, then I could see that being a little more difficult because there's going to be other avenues people can explore to find a solution to their problem.
And do you what if do you have any fear of somebody replicating what you've built?
I don't. So our ArcSite is built off of a platform called constraint-based drawing, which Pei, our owner and CEO, has a patent on.
Okay.
And everything we've built is kind of built on top of that patented technology. So even if somebody wanted to copy it or make something better, I'm not really sure it could be done. What we have, again, is just so unique and so well thought out that it's not a concern I have at this point.
If anything, competition helps us in a lot of cases, because one thing I hear while he's doing demos all day is the guy saying, wow, this is so much better than when I was using X or whatever. I think, competition helps us in a lot of ways.
You might be able to do some like direct comparison type marketing content where you're
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great idea too.
There's just so many great ideas and so many things to do that just time is the limiter.
Unfortunately. Putting bodies to work is what we need.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on the show, talking about your marketing and your app. If you guys are interested in learning more about ArcSite and how, as a contractor, you could save time, and where could they find more information about this if they're interested, and who is this for? Just as a quick recap.
Yeah, ArcSite is for anybody who is on the go and they need to create construction drawings or CAD designs. So if you're sitting in an office somewhere, or you're not sitting in an office, if you are out on the go in someone's building taking measurements and you need to put those on paper somehow and maybe draw up a scope of work, ArcSite is definitely the program you can use for that task.
Awesome. Well, this has been the Digital Fluid Marketing Podcast.